Hello guys, welcome to Buddy Academy. This is Nandini going to teach you NCERT Physics. In this class, we are going to cover the third chapter, current electricity in your NCERT Physics. Okay student, let's see what are the important topics that we are going to cover. First, we are going to see the introduction of this lesson and later electric current in the conductor, Ohm's law and very important topic, drift of electrons and origin of resistivity. And later cells, EMF and internal resistance and Kirchhoff law. In the basis of the Kirchhoff law, we are going to derive the expression for the Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge and potentiometer. Okay student, without any delay, let's get into this class. First, what is electric current? So generally we are came across electric current in your day-to-day life, right? Because we are using fridge, TV, home appliances, all and everything, including your mobile phone also, we are going to charge with the help of the electric current. Yes, let's see what is an electric current and their formulas. So, the electric current is nothing but when the charges are in motion, so that constitutes a electric current. So, in the previous two chapters, we have studied that charges in a static mode. That is, there is a no movement of charges, right? So, there is a no movement of charges, so that the static charges is said to be a electrostatics. So, there is another branch of electrostatics and electrodynamics. Okay, so here we are studying there is a static charges and what is their force and what is their electric field, potential and whatever the topic related to the electrostatics. And next we are going to see about the electrodynamics. So, in the electrodynamics, which is termed as the current electricity, here we are going to see about the current, voltage, resistance and power, energy. So, these are the topics that we are going to cover. Okay, so let's see what is a current. So, already I am having this model, so which is a battery is connected to a load. Here the load I am kept as a light. Okay. So, there what is the conventional current flow? The conventional current flow is from the positive to the negative. So, this is the conventional current flow. But the electron flows from this terminal, that is a negative terminal to that load. So, this is the direction of the electron flow, but the conventional current flow is about from the plus to the minus. Okay. So, in this circuit we will clearly see that conventional current flow, in the conventional current flow it is from the positive to negative and the electron flow is from the negative to positive. So, this is the movement of direction of the electrons. So, these are the some of the applications of electricity I have listed out. So, let us see the definition of electric current. So, the electric current is nothing but it is a stream of charged particles such as electrons, ions, which is moving through the electrical conductor, say copper. So, in a day-to-day life, we are using copper as an electrical conductor in more of the electrical appliances, right? Yes, in the copper, the electrons are loosely packed, so that it is said to be a conductor. So, inside the copper, when the potential is applied through the battery, what happens is the electrons will flow throughout the circuit. Okay, so that the current will flow through the circuit. So, what is the electric current? It is nothing but a stream of charged particles such as electrons, ions are moving through an electrical conductor or a space. So, that is known as a current electricity. And see this, I am comparing the electrons movement with the water movement. Okay. So, here the for example, I am having a falls. So, that I am considering this as a higher potential and this is a lower potential. So, that similarly in this setup, so first here the positive terminal is located and here is the negative terminal is located. Consider this is a higher potential and consider this is a lower potential. So, that the electrons are flowing from the higher to lower potential, that is current is flowing from the higher to lower potential, right. So, that the conventional current flow. So, here I am comparing this same setup with the water. So, there is a higher potential and here it is a lower potential. So, that the stream of water is flowing from the higher to lower potential. Here I am the all students clear that electrons will flow from the negative to positive, but I am saying with the conventional current flow. Okay, so that the current is flowing from the conventional current flow is from the positive to negative. So that I am considering this electron flow with the water, so that when I am having a two different potential, one is higher and lower, so that the water is moving. So the picture is implies that. So let's see what is the formula for the current. The current is equal to Q by T. Q is nothing but a charge and T is the time. Okay, so that charge flowing through the conductor per unit time. So that constitutes a electric current. Yes. So let's see the change of charge, that is for time, for example 2 second to 4 second or 0 second to 2 second. For a particular time, how much of the charge is added to that circuit. So that is change of charge divided by change of time. Okay, that is change of charge. So that implies the current. So what is the unit for a current? It is a ampere. Ampere is nothing but it is the name of a scientist. And next, it is also having another unit, which is a coulomb per second. So it is simple to remember because the unit of the charge was coulomb and the unit of time was second. So let's see what is the electrical currents in the conductor. So let us consider this example. Here the positive charges are accumulated with the one end of the cylinder and the negative charges are accumulated in the other end of the cylinder. So what happened when the charges are filled in the both of the end? Yes, the electric field will flow through the cylinder. So it is moving from the positive to the negative, so that the charges are get attracted towards each other and some amount of current will flow. So it is you are thinking that the current will flow as long as it's possible. Yes, it is depend upon the charge. Okay, so when there are minimum amount of charge, how much of recombining takes place by the positive and negative charges, so that much of current is produced. For example, if I am having a very less amount of charge means, so the recombination of that charges will take place 1 second or 2 seconds. It can be lower than that also. Okay, so when there is a large amount of positive and negative charges are placed. Okay, so that in that time, so in some amount of time, some extra amount of time, the charge, that current will present on that cylindrical surface. Okay, so how it is happening is by the flow of the electric field from the positive to negative. So to maintain a steady electric field across that cylinder, you can maintain the current also. Okay, so here without applying the electric field, I am just placing a charges. Okay, so that it implies, so maintaining the electric field is must to produce the current. So to maintain the electric field, you have to produce a battery parallelly with the load. Okay, so first you have to produce a electric field to produce the current. So how you produce the electric field? By giving the voltage. How you giving your voltage? By producing a battery or power supply. Okay, so this is the concept. So let's see what is the Ohm's law. So Ohm's law is a very basic law for all the current electricity. Okay, so the Ohm's law is discovered by the G.S. Ohm in 1928. So what he say is, so the potential difference. Okay, so the potential difference is directly proportional to the current. Okay, so at the constant temperature. So don't forget this, because that Ohm's law is not applicable for the semiconductors, because in the semiconductors, when the temperature is high, the current is also high. Okay, so in that the Ohm's law is never to be applicable. Okay, so let's see what is the Ohm's law. First, basics of Ohm's law, that is the potential difference is directly proportional to the current flow through the conductor. Okay, at the constant temperature. So this is the Ohm's law, and when we equal this, so that introduces a constant which is known as a resistance. So the resistance, I will say in detail what is a resistance through an example so that you can clearly understand. So say here, so in this bottle, say bottle or any cave, okay, so there is a one obstacles here, so that it compared to the resistance, okay. So that when E tighten, that is a resistance, when we tighten this cave, okay, bottle, this shape, so when we tighten, it becomes thin layer, okay, so it becomes thin and thin, so that the current will difficult to flow through that path, okay. So that is said to be a home. The voltage, what is a voltage work? It tries to push the electrons, so that when the electrons are moved, that introduces the electric current. So this constitutes a Ohm's law. So that is, it is saying that when the resistance is I, that is the resistance of the path is I, so in that time the current is very low, okay. So when there is a very high resistance, for example an insulator, in the insulator the resistance are very high, so in that there is a no current flow. For example wood, okay, wood, paper and all, it is an example for the insulator, so that you can clearly understand that the current flow is never taken place through the wood also. Yes, okay, let's see this. So here the voltage, which is a force to push an electron. So it is a simple to remember in the mind. So ohms is nothing but it is a resistance in this figure. Okay students, by this triangle we can easily remember, by if you want to calculate the voltage, you have to multiply the current and resistance, and if you want to calculate the resistance, you have to divide the voltage and current. If you want to calculate the current, you have to divide the voltage and resistance. So you have to remember these symbols. I have compared the circuit, one simple circuit which is having a battery switch, current, resistance with the pipe, okay, that is a water pipe with a pump. Okay, let me derive the Ohm's law further. So by the Ohm's law, which is equal to R is equal to V by I. Consider the slab. So the same area of slab when I taking a two slabs. Okay, so in that what happens? The resistance will, so the voltage will double. Okay, so here the voltage is V. So in this the voltage is 2V, but the current through the conductor is same. So in the figure B, we have said that R is equal to 2V by I. So that it implies that when I double the length, the resistance is also double, so that the R is directly proportional to L. And the next case C. So when we double the area, okay, so when we reduce the area by 2, so in that the current is reduced by 2. So when I am considering only one area, not a two area. When the area is reduced by half, so what happened when the current flow in the first half of the slab? So that it becomes V by I by 2. So when we reduce the area, the resistance is increases, okay, so that when they reduce the area by 2, the resistance is increased by twice, so that area is inversely proportional to resistance, okay. By this we are concluding that R is proportional to L by A, okay. We are introducing the equal symbol by having this rho. Rho is nothing but it is a resistivity, okay, it is a property of a conductor. Okay, so rho is nothing but it is a resistivity. When you want to calculate a rho, you have to divide RA by L. Okay, by substituting this value in the Ohm's law, which is V is equal to IR, we will get this expression. So again we are very familiar about this formula, right, which is V is equal to ED. So here the length of the slab was L, so that I am writing a L here. So EL is equal to JPL. So J rho L. Okay. So I am just equating the two voltage equations so that L become cancelled. So what is the remaining terms? E is equal to J rho. So this is the final expression that I have got. There is another another formula. Okay, another equation or formula for the current density, which is a J is equal to sigma E. Okay, so this is the another equation for the current density. So there are three equation which relates the current density. One is a E is equal to J rho, and next is a J is equal to sigma E. Next is a, so current density is also A by A. Okay, that is a current flowing per unit area is said to be a current density. Okay, it is for your note. Drift of electrons and origin of resistivity. So consider a system which is having a n number of electrons. Okay, so there is a n number of electrons. Without the presence of the electric field, what is the movement of electrons? Yes. So the movement of electrons will be a random. So it is moving with the velocity, say Vi for the ith electron. So there is a random movement of all electron which results in the average velocity which is equal to 0, which is implying this formula, that is 1 by n summation of one electron, that is the first to the last electron, Vi is equal to 0. So consider the situation after the electric field is present. Okay. So what will be the electric field is present? So that the velocity of a electron at a time t. So V is equal to, Vi is equal to Vi. So Vi is nothing but it is a velocity after the last collision. Okay. Minus EE. So this E stands for the magnitude of charge, and here this capital E stands for electric field, divided by MTI. Okay, so this is the equation. So here, which is equation which is from the Newton's law, Newton's equation, okay, which we have studied in the Newton law of motion. Next, so the acceleration is equal to minus EE by M. So this is the electrons will be accelerated due to this field is equal to, acceleration is equal to minus EE by M. So let us consider the Vi average, which is equal to Vd. Vd is nothing but it is a drift velocity, is equal to Vi average. I am taking an average for all the electrons, all the velocity of an electron, so that the equation becomes this. So here the Ti average is equal to tau. Tau is nothing but a relaxation time. Okay. So this is known as a average velocity. That is V average is equal to minus EE by M Ti average. This Vi average is equal to 0, and this equation becomes Vd is equal to minus EE by M tau. So this is the formula that we have got finally. So after the apply of electric field, the drift velocity is equal to minus EE by M tau. So let us consider the current here. The current is equal to, which is at a time t. Okay, the current at a time t is equal to this. So this we have to use this formula to find out the current density. Okay. So let us use this formula, which is equal to I delta T is equal to plus NEA VD. We are taking a modulus here. So already we are having the expression VD is equal to minus EE by M tau, right? So I am just substituting this value in this equation, and I am reducing the equation further to cancel the delta T here. So after cancelling the delta T, I am taking this A in the next side. Okay, so that it becomes in I by A E square N tau by M E modulus. Okay, so this is the expression I have already said, right? That is J is equal to I by A, which is a current density. So that we will calculate the current density by this expression. J is equal to Ne square by M tau E. And also we have know the another expression for J, which is equal to sigma E. Sigma is nothing but it is a conductivity. Okay. So the conductivity is equal to Ne square by M tau by equating this equation. Okay students, so these are the type of question that we get from the drift velocity. These are the past question. I will take a sample for you. So just go through a look. So let's see what is a mobility. It is asked in very short answer. So what is a mobility? So the mobility is nothing but it is a magnitude of a drift velocity per unit electric field. So this is known as a mobility. From the expression wise, you can tell that mobility is defined as a magnitude of a drift velocity per unit electric field. So it is very simple, right? So this equation is very important for your short answer. So what is a SI unit of mobility? It is m square by Vs. So this is the SI unit for the mobility. So next, so when the mobility is always a positive, so mu is equal to Vd by E, Vd is equal to E tau E by M. So this is the value of a Vd, right? So I am taking a modulus minus E by tau by M. So that the expression we have already got. So that in the modulus the minus will gone. So that E by E tau M by E, which is a mobility. So that E get cancelled. So as a final expression we will get E tau by M. So this is the final expression for the mobility. So let's see the limitations of Ohm's law. So there are certain limitations for the Ohm's law. The first is, so it is applicable for the semiconductors. It is not applicable for the semiconductors. And also note the diode, transistor. So these materials does not follow the Ohm's law, okay, because it is made up of semiconductor, okay. So let's see the graphs. Note that this graph is very important. So this graph implies the voltage is directly proportional to I, okay. So next, in this I am decreasing the voltage so that the current is reduces in the negative direction, okay. So this is the characteristic curve of a diode. So for the different scale of negative and positive values of the voltage, and when we kept the voltage negative, the current will also flow in negative direction, okay. Next, so this is the figure for the variation of current versus voltage for a GAS element. So let's see the resistivity of various materials. So what will be the resistivity for the insulator? It is very, very high. So it is having a very high resistivity for semiconductors. So it is having when we increase the temperature, the resistivity will decrease and the current will increase. Okay, so never forget this. And for conductor, the resistivity is low. It is not zero, but it is very low. Okay. Next, this is a carbon resistor figure and the wire wound resistor figure. So there are two type of resistors. One is a carbon and another one is a wire wound. Okay. So in your portion, the carbon resistor and the color coding and the combination of resistors. These three topics are neglected from your board exams. Okay. So let's see the temperature dependence of resistivity. This expression is very important. This expression is only very important. Just note it down, this expression. So rho T is nothing but it is a resistivity at a temperature T, and rho naught it is a reference temperature at a T naught. Okay. So the alpha is nothing but it is a temperature coefficient of resistivity. And T is a temperature T which we are taking T. So and T naught is a reference temperature. Okay. So this is the resistivity of a metallic conductor formula. So these are the graphs which is representing the resistivity and temperature relation for the copper, and in this nichrome, and here for the semiconductor. Okay students, so till now we have seen the voltage, current, resistance and all, right. So now we are going to enter the new topic, electrical energy and power. Okay, so from the past analysis of 10 years CBSE question, there is a no question from the electrical energy and power, but it is important, not a very important. So you have to study at least a formula for the power and energy. So let's see what is the electrical energy and electrical power. This is you can get from VSA or short answer question. So let's see what is an electrical energy. I am considering this wire which is having a 2 points A and B, and the current through the wire is flowing from the A to B. So that the potential of A is VA and potential of B is VB. And what is the potential of VAB? It is equal to VA minus VB. So let's keep it aside. So if you want to calculate the potential energy, you have to calculate from the final potential energy minus initial potential energy, right? So that potential energy is equal to QV. So V, instead of Q, I am writing as a change of Q. That is a change of charge which is delta Q, and VB. VB is the final potential energy from the point B, and the initial potential energy minus, which is a VA. So that if you subtract 2, we will get the VA minus VBA. So that is equal to minus of VAB. Instead of this, we are substituting a minus VAB, so that the equation become minus delta Q V is equal to minus I. So I am just substituting the value of the Q, delta Q is equal to I delta T. Okay. So I am equating this potential energy to the kinetic energy, so that the equation becomes delta K is equal to minus delta U PO. POT stands for the potential energy. Okay, let's calculate the expression for the power. So we have calculated the energy expression for both the potential and kinetic energy, right? So we are going to calculate the expression for the power. So what is the amount of energy which is dissipated as a heat in the conductor during the time interval T? So W is equal to delta W is equal to IV delta T. So this is the expression, and the energy dissipated per unit time is the power dissipated. So that P is equal to delta W by delta T. So that delta T will get cancelled when we equate this value. Okay, when we equate the delta W value here, the delta T, this delta T will get cancelled. So the final expression that we have got is P is equal to VI. So when we want the expression for the power in terms of current and resistance, we have to substitute the Ohm's law, and if you want the power expression in terms of voltage and resistance, you have to substitute the Ohm's law. Okay students, let's see the cell's EMF and internal resistance. So let's define a cell. The cell is nothing but here we are going to learn about the electrolytic cell. So this is a simple device, okay, which is a simple device to maintain a steady current in an electric circuit. Already we have seen. So to maintain a steady electric current, steady electric field, you have to produce a voltage, that is a potential difference across the conductor. How we produce a voltage? By using a battery or any cell or a voltage source, okay. So by this we are maintain a steady electric field. By maintaining this steady electric field, we will get the passage of current. Okay, so this is a concept, basic concept. Okay, let's see what is an electrolytic cell. So it is a simple device to maintain a steady current in an electric circuit. So there are two types of electrodes. One is a positive rod and then is a negative rod. So this is the example for a real-time cell that we are used in a remote batteries and car batteries and all. That is a small remote car control batteries. Okay. So let us consider this figure. So in this figure there is a two electrodes are placed in a electrolyte, and here the A and B are the point taken in a electrolyte. So here inside the electrolyte there is a passage of current, so with a certain amount of resistance. Okay, so what is the EMF of a cell? EMF is nothing but a electromotive force of a cell, which is denoted by the epsilon. Okay, so the epsilon is equal to V plus, that is a positive potential, plus negative potential, which is always greater than 0. So let us see the potential. So the EMF developed in this circuit is equal to potential difference between a P and A and B and B and N. So this is the potential difference that we have got in this circuit. Okay. So the electrolyte which is having a, I have already said, right, that is a current is flowing through the electrolyte which is having a certain amount of resistance. So it is having a resistance named R. So that epsilon E is equal to V. V stands for the potential difference. The potential difference, total potential difference minus ER. Okay, plus ER. So this is the expression is equal to V. So for B and N we have substituted the equation minus IR. For A and B, for V plus stands for PA. So this is a V plus, that is a positive potential, and here N stands for negative potential, and in between the electrolytes which is a and B, which is through which the current is passing through, which is having a finite resistance R. So that the current and resistance presented here, so that the voltage, that is a potential difference also present in this 2 points, so that the VAB is equal to IR. But the negative direction the current is flowing, so we are representing it in a minus IR. VAB is equal to minus IR. So V is equal to V plus V minus IR. Okay. This is a minus, and for V plus I am writing as minus epsilon minus ER. So this is a epsilon that we have already find it. The potential difference between P and N is equal to epsilon minus IR. Okay students, let's see the cells in parallel and series. First, series connection. The series connection really will connected in the figure like this. Okay, so let us consider the potential difference of A and B. So the potential difference of A and B is VAB. VA is equal to epsilon 1 minus, so this potential difference, so already we have seen in this formula, which is V is equal to epsilon minus IR. So note students, so here this expression we will take again and again for formulas or instead of derivation, and also for the problems also. So note it down. This expression is very important. R is the internal resistance and I is a current flowing through the internal resistance, and epsilon is nothing but the EMF, which is a potential difference between the 2 points. Okay, so potential difference, and V is nothing but it is a potential difference, and epsilon is nothing but a EMF. Okay, yes, let's see the topic cells in series and parallel. So by this we have already found an equation for the potential difference across the two ends of a cell, which is V is equal to epsilon minus IR. Epsilon is nothing but it is a EMF of a cell, minus I is the internal resistance, which is having a, for example, if the cell which is having a EMF epsilon 1 and it is having some resistance. Okay, it is having some finite resistance which is named as a R, and through which the current is flowing is named as a I. Okay, so this is the expression that you have to remember. It is a very important, student, so let's remember this. So let's take this figure. So in this, which there are two cells are connected. I am naming this as a X and Y. Okay, so this X and Y cells are connected in parallel. So the X cell which is having a potential difference VAB. So VA is a point where the potential difference is VA, and VB is a potential difference at a point B, and VC is a potential difference at a point C. So okay, so let's calculate the equivalent EMF. Okay, let's calculate the EMF. So what formula that we have to use and all we are going to see. So what is the potential difference VA? So already we have found the expression, right? So instead of potential difference VA minus VB, we are using that epsilon 1 minus IR1. Okay, so the R1 is the internal resistance of the cell X. Okay, so the R2 is the internal resistance of the cell Y. So by this we are getting this expression 1 and 2. So let's see the potential difference across the terminal A and C. So by this we are finding the equation epsilon 1. By adding this we will get the I as a common term, and epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2 and minus I as a common term, R1 plus R2. So this epsilon 1 and epsilon 2 is taken as a epsilon EQ, which is a equivalent EMF, and R1 plus R2 which is taken as a REQ, which is a equivalent resistance. So the rule for series combination clearly was extended to any number of cells. The rule was EEQ is equal to E1, that is epsilon EQ, which is a EMF. Okay, so we are not pronounce it as a E, it is a epsilon. Epsilon EQ is equal to epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2 epsilon n. Okay, so to calculate the equivalent resistance, internal resistance, we have to add all these resistance up to the nth resistance. So this is the formula for the series connection. So let us consider the parallel combination of the cell. So let the same, okay, so the VB and VB1 and VB2 are the two points which is having a potential VB1 and VB2. Okay, so here we are going to calculate the EMF of the, that is E epsilon B1 B2. Okay, that is a equivalent EMF. So to calculate this you have to consider the first point, this wire. Okay, so in this wire there is a single cell which is having a EMF epsilon 1 and it is having a internal resistance R1. Similarly in the second wire it is having a epsilon 2 as a EMF and R2 as a internal resistance. Okay students, let's calculate this. So here we have already know that current is to be added to get the total current for the parallel connection. So I is equal to I1 plus I2, which is equal to I. So that we will get the I is equal to I1 plus I2. For instead of I1 I am writing as epsilon 1 minus V by R1. Why I am getting that is equal to V is equal to epsilon 1 minus IR1. I will show it for this equation so that you can clearly understand. I want to calculate the I1, right? So that all these terms will go on to this side. So that it becomes V minus epsilon 1 minus by R1. To take the minus into this side, so that this equation will become epsilon 1 minus V1 by R1. Okay. Similarly, you have to do this for equation 2. So this is the same expression I have written here. So similarly for I2, epsilon 2 minus V R2. By taking the epsilon 1 and by R1 in this term, you can get this expression as this. Okay, so similarly we are simplifying this equation. By doing the cross multiplication, we will get this expression here. So to find the equivalent EMF, you have to write this. So which is equal to epsilon R2 plus epsilon 2 R1 by R1 plus R2. So this is the epsilon, that is a equivalent EMF, and for equivalent R we have to write this expression, which is a simplified form of this expression, which is 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2. So this is the rule for the parallel. So to calculate the equivalent EMF, we have to include the R equivalent also. For in the series combination, you have not included the R equivalent, but in the parallel combination, you have to include the R equivalent also. To calculate the equivalent EMF, we have to divide the epsilon 1 R1 plus epsilon 2 R2 together. You have to multiply it with the Req, so that you will get the equivalent EMF. Okay student, let's see the Kirchhoff rules. So there are two rules. One is a Kirchhoff current rule and then is a Kirchhoff voltage rule. Okay. So first is known as a junction rule, which is also known as a current rule. So in this junction rule we have seen that. So I will tell you a simple example so that you can clearly understand. So this is the direction of the current that I am indicating, say I1, I2, I3 and I4. Okay, so these four currents are meeting at a junction O. Okay, so here with respect of this junction, so which one is entering current? Yes, obviously I2 and I1 are the entry current. So that sum of the entering current is equal to sum of the leaving current, which is I3 plus I4. Okay, so this says the junction rule. So let's see the loop rule. So the loop rule states that algebraic sum of changes in potential around any closed loop involving the resistors and cells in the loop is 0. So this also I will say a simple example. For example, a 5-volt battery is connected to a 2 load. One is having a potential drop of 2 volt and another one is a 3 volt. Okay. So here the potential drop is 2 volt and 5 volt. So what is the voltage draw says that is first 5 volt, next minus 2 volt, minus 3 volt. So this is a potential drop across this resistor. So together it gives a 0 volt. So this law states that the algebraic sum of changes in potential around any closed loop involving resistors and cells in the loop is 0. Yes students, we are going to see the Wheatstone bridge. It is also one of the application of the Kirchhoff rules. Okay, so in the Kirchhoff rule we have seen the two rules. One is the Kirchhoff voltage law and Kirchhoff current law, right? So by using that Kirchhoff voltage and current law, we are going to determine the Wheatstone bridge. In the Wheatstone bridge, the construction was very simple by the 4 resistance which is kept a square shape. Okay, so in the middle of the, that is a diagonal of a square, there is a galvanometer which is placed. Okay, so the galvanometer shows the 0 deflection when the circuit is balanced. So let's see the first loop. So in the first loop there is a current. I am just assuming this current as in this direction. Okay, so here the conventional current flow is towards the positive to negative, right? So I am just considering the current is that is a clockwise direction. Okay, so when the current is with the parallel, okay, so here the current, assumed current direction is parallel with this current direction, which is I2. So that I am having a plus I2 R2. So this is a loop, okay, the first loop. Again, so this direction is against this assumed current direction, okay, so it is an anti-parallel. So that I am indicating a minus here. So don't confuse with the plus and minus indication. Okay, so here I am indicating the minus. Why? Because it is an anti-parallel direction with the assumed current. In the second, similarly we are going to calculate for the second loop also. Okay, so by calculating this we are going to equating the I1 by I2 and is equal to R2 by R1. Similarly we are calculating with for the I1 by R2 is equal to R4 by R3, because I am taking as a R2 is equal to R4 and R1 is equal to R3. So that I am taking a I1 by I2. So instead of I1 is equal to I am writing I3 and instead of I2 I am writing the I4. Okay, because this current is common, because you have already seen that there is a zero deflection. Zero deflection means there is a no passage of current. So that I1 is equal to I3. So that I2 is equal to I4. I1 is equal to I3, I2 is equal to I4. By this we are calculating the R2 by R1 is equal to I4 by I3. Okay. Yes. So the AC is a battery arm and the BD is a galvanometer arm. So Ig is nothing but it is a galvanometer current, which is we are going to assume as a 0 because it is a balanced circuit. Okay. So in the balanced circuit, the galvanometer shows the 0 deflection. So let's see the meter bridge. Meter bridge is also one of the application of a Kirchhoff rule. So in the meter bridge there is a wire length which is a 1 meter. Okay, 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter of uniform cross sectional area, stitched, taut, clamped. So it is clamped between the two thick metallic strips. Okay, so which is a bend at a right angle. So there is a two gaps between the metal strips. One is I am placing a R, which is a resistance between the A and B metallic strips, and again between the B and C metallic strips I am placing a resistance S. Okay. So yes, let's calculate the unknown resistance, which is a R, and a standard resistance with the help of the standard resistance, which is known as a S. Okay. So the distance was L1 centimeter. And the R seam is nothing but a resistance per unit centimeter. So that I am already said it is a 1 meter. So that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter. It is measured with the help of the meter scale. So that the one end of the galvanometer is connected to the metallic strip midway between the two gaps. So it is taken as to be a L1. So where the jockey is placed, and the next part is 100 minus L1. So 100 is a centimeter. So by balancing the equation, we are balancing the equation with the help of the Wheatstone bridge. Okay. So that R by S is equal to, so what is the value of the R? It is RCM L1 divided by, so what is the value of S? RCM 100 minus L1. Okay. So by this RCM get cancelled, so that the remaining was L1 by 100 minus L1. So which is equal, which we are going to calculate the unknown resistance, which is a R. R is equal to S into L1 minus 100 minus L1. By determining the L1 here with the help of the meter scale, you can easily calculate the resistance, the unknown resistance R. Okay students, let's see the concepts of potentiometer. So this is a sample question taken from All India 2012 based on the topic potentiometer. So let us see the principle of the potentiometer. The potentiometer principle was nothing. It is a potential drop of the uniform resistance is directly proportional to L. Okay, so this is the principle of the potentiometer. So let us see the construction. So first we are going to see this circuit. So in this circuit the battery is placed across a long wire, say AC. So AC is a long wire. So between these wire there is a cuts. Okay, so there is a cuts. So that in the cuts there is a metallic strip placed over these cuts. Okay, so there is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are 5 metallic strips are placed in this cuts of the wire. So let's see this circuit. So when I take L, say take a point P. So what is the length of the point P between the point P and A? Yes, it is said to be L1. So in that time, what is the potential? Okay, so the potential is phi L1. So the phi is nothing but a potential drop across per unit length. So this is known as a phi, and L is nothing but it is a length of that 2 points, okay, which is a and P. So let's see the equation with the help of this equation. So first I am considering the circuit 1, 3. Okay, I am leaving this circuit. Okay, I am leaving this switch. So first I am connecting the switch 1 and 3 so that it becomes a closed circuit with the EMF of a cell epsilon 1. Yes. So that the junction will close as A N1 G 3 1 A. Okay, so this in this type the current will flow. So that phi L1 is nothing but the point. Okay, so the distance between the point is L1. I am taking as a L1, so that phi L1 plus 0. 0 is nothing but it is a deflection shown by the galvanometer. So there is no potential drop is occurring on the galvanometer, minus phi 1. So that we are reaching the negative ends of this cell, so that we are indicating the minus here, minus epsilon 1 is equal to 0. Similarly, we are equating the equation 2. So by equating these two equations, we are getting the epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 is equal to L1 by L2. So let us determine the internal resistance of the cell. To determine the internal resistance of the cell, we are keeping only one cell, okay, which is having a EMF epsilon and having a key K2. Okay, so this is the setup. So that in this setup, the L1 is equal to AN1. Okay, so from the length A to N1, it is said to be a L1. So in this type, what is the potential? That is epsilon is equal to phi L1. Okay, so here the key 2 is open, so that epsilon is equal to phi L1. So similarly, what is the potential here? Terminal potential difference of the cell in balance is obtained at the length L2, which is a length between the L, A and N2. Okay, so this is the length L2 and here this is the length L1. Okay, so yes, the potential difference is equal to V is equal to phi L2. So already we have known this formula. Okay, so this is a formula that is already known. So yes, V is equal to IR, which is nothing but a Ohm's law that we have studied in a past slides, right? So yes, so that we are equaling this two values of the epsilon and this values. Okay, so that we are getting that already we are having phi 1 L1 by phi L2, which is E by epsilon. Okay, so that phi get cancelled, which gives E by V is equal to L1 by L2. Similarly, we are going to use this equation. Okay, I am taking this equation, so that E by V is equal to, by equating these values, we are getting this derivation. Okay, I get cancelled, so that R plus R by R, L1 by L2. So that I am equating these two equations here. Okay, yes. So that R is equal to R into L1 by L2 minus 1. So this is the final expression we are getting. Yes, so this is the important formulas that you have to remember for doing the problems. Okay, student, let's solve some previous year questions. So this is a question taken from the Delhi 2008. The first question was the plot of the variation of a potential difference across a combination of three identical cells in series versus current is as shown in a figure. So this is a graph which shows the current versus voltage. Okay, so what is the EMF of each cell? So the total EMF, so I will write the solution here. The total EMF of three cells which is kept in a series is equal to potential difference of corresponding to zero current. Okay, so which is a 6 volt. So that the EMF of each cell is equal to 6 by 3. 6 is representing the voltage and 3 representing the number of cells. So that 2 volt. So the potential EMF of each cell is 2 volt. So let us see the next question. The second question was a wire of resistance 8R is bent in the form of a circle. What is the effective resistance between the ends of A and B? So this is a question from Delhi 2008. So let's solve this. So it is a very simple. So first we are going to calculate the effective resistance between the A and B, right? So yes. So the 8 ohm is bent in the form of a circle. So that it is having a equal semicircles, right? So that it having a 4 ohm at a upper circle and 4 ohm in a lower semicircle. So that it forms a parallel circuit. Okay. By solving this it in a parallel, you will get the effective resistance between the A and B. So that the value of a resistance is 4 ohm and 4 ohm. So that R effective is equal to 4R into 4R. 4R, okay, 4R. 4R into 4R, 4R plus 4R, which gives 16R by 8R, which is a 2R. Okay. So this is the effective resistance that we are getting. So next, a cell of EMF E and internal resistance R draws a current I. Write the relation between the terminal voltage V in terms of EIR. I hope you have got that formula, so which we have studied in the topic of cells, EMF and internal resistance, which is E is equal to E minus IR. So E is nothing but it is a EMF and V is a terminal voltage and I is a internal resistance, I is a internal current and R is a internal resistance. Okay. So let's show the variation of a resistivity of a copper as a function of a temperature in a graph. This is the answer. So the graph is increasing exponentially. Okay, so as the resistivity is increasing, the temperature is also increasing. Okay, so this is the variation of a resistivity of a copper as a function of a temperature. Let's solve the fifth problem. The plot of the variation of the potential difference A across the combination of three identical cells in series versus current is shown along the question. So this is a graph they are given with the question. What is the EMF and internal resistance of each cell? So they are asking about the EMF and internal resistance of the each cell. So let's see the solution. As the cells are connected in series, so that EMF of the cells are add up. So by the series law, so that 3E will come. So which is equal to 6 volt. So E is equal to 6 by 3, which is a 2 volt. Okay. So when the current is taken as a 0. Okay. Yes. So this is the EMF of the cell. Next, we are going to find the internal resistance R. So by finding the internal resistance R, we have to use this formula, which is I is equal to V plus IR, which is the formula for the EMF of a cell. So by this we are going to calculate the internal resistance. So here the E minus V by I. So by taking the V is equal to 0 and I is equal to 1 amps. So here we are taking the I is equal to 0 and V is equal to 6 volt, and here we are going to take a V is equal to 0 volt and I is equal to 1 amps. So R is equal to E minus V by I. So E is equal to 6 volt minus, so we are considering as a 0 volt, it is a 2 volt. Okay. So we have found that E is equal to 2 volt. E is equal to 2 volt, so that we are substituting the value of the EMF E as a 2 volt minus 0 divided by I, which is a 1 amps. So 2 volt minus 0 by 1 amps, which gives 2 ohms. So this is the value of the internal resistance. Okay student, let's see some practice question. So by this we have already finished all the concepts in the chapter. Okay, so we have covered all the concepts. So from the electric current to the potentiometer, so we have completed. So let's practice some question. So this is a question based on the meter bridge. We have to derive that expression to find the unknown resistance X. So in the next question also is based on the meter bridge. So here also we have to calculate the X. From this we are already seen these concepts in the meter bridge topic, right? So that with the help of the resistance X, we are going to calculate the formula for the unknown resistance X, which is parallel connected with the S. So already we have seen that concepts. So next third question was potentiometer. So you have to remember that the meter bridge, potentiometer and Wheatstone bridge. We have to concentrate three topics, very important, because it is asked in a long answer and very long answer. Okay. So by this we are winding up the session. Okay guys, let's see what are the important topics that we discussed today. Electric current in the conductors, Ohm's law and its limitation, drift of electrons and origin of resistivity, cells, EMF and internal resistance, Kirchhoff law. On the base of the Kirchhoff law, we have derived an expression for the Wheatstone bridge, meter bridge and potentiometer. In the next class, we are going to start a new chapter, chapter 4, moving charges and magnetism. I hope all you enjoyed and learned whatever the topics that we have discussed today. It's your turn to prepare, practice and revise for your exams. All the best. Thank you.
For more queries, please contact Buddy on 98408 44987 or visit buddy.life.